Hey guys, I'm here with another quick tip video, and the first thing I would like to talk about is the importance of precasting skills and stopping casting them or stopping recasting DoTs at certain points in the fight. A lot of people who have been parsing on the dummy and have been learning their rotation, they would do this a lot in trials as well, and it's not exactly the same. Of course, I think the training dummy is an amazing tool for practicing and for learning your rotation, but there will be some adjustments you need to make in real trials. So let's take a look at how I start my rotations. This is something you can do in or like on the training dummy as well. Here we're starting Asylum Sanctorium, and pay attention to the skills I'm casting. So I am using Basse's Mania in this trial, and you can see as soon as we enter the door, I as a Sorc, I am draining my Magicka because of Basse. Probably these days you'll be using something like Coral Riptide, so you want to be draining your stamina. Any sort of resource drain that you want to do, if it increases your damage, you will do that. Then you see I cast Channeled Acceleration and what's that, Dark Exchange, just for more stamina sustain. And I place Trap, sorry, not Trap, that's Rune. A lot of experienced players will be doing this, placing down things on the ground. I placed it in a position so that it doesn't aggro the boss, but it's very close to him. So when the tank pulls the boss will step on the rune. So this is like a little extra thing you can do, just for pure min-maxing. This isn't too much of an importance. It's just really if you really want to push your damage. Then I change my skills using the Alpha Gear add-on, or you can just do it manually. But like if you have presets, you can do that. So you see I had Channel Acceleration Rune and Dark Exchange. I think it's called Dark Exchange, or is it the other morph? I never know the names. And then I changed my skills, so I won't be casting those anymore. Now what I cast is precast the ult, which is Overload. So any skills you can cast before the fight even starts. Right, so anything you can do before the fight starts, it's good to cast. You want to make sure you're casting skills that do not draw any aggro. So you see, I cast Bound Armament. I will cast my pet, and ideally I would have cast the Crystal Weapon as well, but I didn't have time because we have already pulled. So this is, I think, another reason why it's important for tanks to pull slowly and do slow countdowns. If you want to maximize your damage output of every DD. DDs should be pre-buffing and pre-casting skills, and normally I need about 6-7 seconds to cast all of my skills before the combat starts. You of course don't want to be pulling and doing 7-second countdowns every time, so it's sort of the responsibility of the damage dealers to also precast their skills before the countdown even starts. Right, so you want to be ready. You want to be casting those skills as you're waiting for the pull. And here I start my rotation. So here's another example of that, where I precast all my skills on Zilvaka. Right before we pull, you see I place down Rune, my Trap, both my pets. Some people have been casting Caltrops. I have seen that right there, and then you pull. So the next thing you want to be paying attention to is that some bosses will have phases when they're vulnerable and when they're not. A good example is the dragons in Sunspire. So right now the dragon is flying, and that means we cannot hit him, but he will be landing soon. And I have an add-on that tells me when he's landing. You can also time it yourself. You don't need add-ons for this. Every boss phase has a certain timer, and he's going to be landing in a few seconds, depending on when this landing will be. What you want to do is you want to cast every skill that you can similar to as if you were pre-buffing before a pull. So, for example, for me, what I want to do is I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 skills that I want to cast. So that will be Trap, both of my pets, Bound Armaments, Crystal Weapon, and Storm Atronak. Right, so think about every skill you want to cast before you pull, and then time it so that you start casting all of those skills before the boss becomes vulnerable. So because I have 6 skills, ideally I start casting with about 6 seconds left. And this is what I do. So I place down Trap, one pet, the other pet, Storm Atronak. I should cast Crystal Weapon now, and ideally I would cast Bound Armaments, so I have 2 stacks on them. Ideally I would cast them on the Atro, and then refresh the full duration. Or not even cast it, maybe I should just, actually, I think that's better, yeah. Maybe I should just stack it up and then wait for the dragon to land if the Atro doesn't need to die very fast. It can just die to AoE damage. But I do cast him on the Atro and I precast him again, and now the dragon has landed, and you see I have everything ready. So the dragon has just landed, and all of my skills are ready to be refreshed. Or they have already been refreshed. So now I don't need to cast the other skills. I can just cast whatever needs to be cast directly on the target that I wasn't able to precast. So that will be Prey and Stampede. I think I even made a mistake there. So he landed, and I think I cast Crystal Weapon again. Yeah, I cast Crystal Weapon again. That was a mistake. So I had already precast Crystal Weapon. I didn't need to do that the second time. I should have just cast Prey and Stampede. So the other side of this equation is phases where the bosses are about to become invulnerable. And what you want to do is you want to make sure you are not casting your DoTs, your damage over time effects, if they are not going to last long enough for them to be worth it. So you can check this for every damage over time ability. You can mouse over it and it will tell you how much damage it's doing. And you just count and see, okay, if this is up for 5 seconds, will this be long enough for it to be more damage than my spammable skill? And this will depend very highly on the skill, and this will depend a lot on your class and so on, also which patch it is. I know there have been some proposed changes to DoTs, but okay, so this is me. I see the boss is now at 79%. I know he's going to fly and become immune to damage, or like you won't be able to attack it anymore. I'm not sure if he's actually immune to damage when he's flying. But you won't be able to attack it anymore at 75%. Right, so there are some thresholds of health, or is either health thresholds or it's timers when the bosses move to a new location or they become immune to damage. And this is when you, if you truly want to maximize your damage potential, this is what you want to be looking at. So I know he's flying in 75%, so I will likely stop casting some of my abilities. You see my, so my trap, we're at 83%, my trap is running out. And I would guess I do not refresh it anymore. I cast Bound Armaments here. I'm not sure if that's correct. I don't think it is. I think it's too late to be casting Bound Armaments. So you see I cast Carve there because it is somewhat of a spammable-ish. But you see I do not refresh my pet. I do not refresh Prey. I do not refresh Trap because I know the boss is about to fly. So I'm only doing my Crystal Weapon and Carve and Crystal Weapon and Bound Armaments. So these are like semi-spammables and the boss flies. Okay, so you don't want to be refreshing. Let's fast forward to the next phase. So the next phase is going to be with 60% right now. He's going to fly at 50%. So I'm paying attention to the boss health. See, I already stopped refreshing the trap. No, I still do it. Okay. Maybe worth it, maybe not. I'm not exactly sure about the trap, but now I will only cast Carve. You see, I was only spamming Carve there at the end, not even going for Crystal Weapon because I knew that he would fly very soon and I wouldn't have enough time to get both the Crystal Weapon procs off. So Crystal Weapon, Carve, and now just one more Carve, and he's flying. Okay? So those are my spammables, and now we... Now this way you know you're really not wasting time and you're truly getting most out of your damage.